is the result of what you've been building since 2018. What was this aha moment for you when you decided to change the world? And why did you decide to change it with blockchain?
There we can look back in my personal history as an entrepreneur, because before starting LCX, we had been running a venture capital fund. We were totally sidelined. We couldn't invest in that space because there was no custodian, no rules. The regulator didn't have a clue. And that's where the vision came about LCX really, that we have to bridge the traditional finance and the blockchain innovation and crypto. And that's the reason why I resigned as a general partner and went all in crypto.
So this is a very big moment for you. Did you realize already at the time that it would impact that much your life, and also the project would have such a big dimension, being developed globally and also to different directions?
Well, there's a saying, there's nothing more powerful than an idea which time has come. And during that time, I thought security tokens or tokenization will be the next big thing already. And it takes more time than anybody expects, especially traditional markets. We had seen that the interest on meme coins is much bigger than on any more classic investment in that space. But what we've seen now is that there's a tipping point. We've built the infrastructure, regulatory side, but also from infrastructure, decentralized networks, which are so powerful that nobody can ignore it anymore. We are at the tipping point with 400, 500 million active users worldwide, and we will probably reach 1 billion this year or next year early on to really go to mass markets. And ultimately, this means that the institutional, large financial players, they all want to have a stake of our pie, and they all want to go into this market. And this is where really the tokenization of financial assets becomes interesting. Tokenization of every financial asset out there, but also of real assets, whether it's assets which had not been liquid before, making them liquid, and all varieties. So like trillions of market opportunity ahead.
So you mentioned different factors, internal and external. What is it that's special about 2025 for you? And what is it that's special about this event in Paris that you decided to bring this narrative forward now in Europe, talking about this new great developments and big steps for you?
So 2025 is a historic moment for the industry. It's a tipping point in a way in Europe because it's the introduction of the markets in crypto assets regulation, a framework which had been the policymakers had been working on for many, many years. And it's now in full force since January with a transition period. So anybody who would like to start an exchange or like do other services in that space need to apply for a MiCA license right now before they start doing business. In our case, as we are regulated so long, we are part of the transition period. We filed our MiCA application as well, and we have to apply for admission to trading for these assets, publish a white paper, and that's what we've done now for Bitcoin, Solana, and so on, and others, that we actually allow to trade these assets on a regulated marketplace. And what it ultimately means is it will shake up the market upside down. We have 450 million population in Europe. France had been an innovator all time long, but also this little country called Liechtenstein had been preparing for it. We are part of the European Economic Area. It's a financial powerhouse, high reputation, and we are now basically out of there. We can passport our license then and serve 30 countries and almost 500 million people.
So you mentioned very different jurisdictions, but definitely there are also common traits. So I would love you to highlight the common challenge and also the common opportunity that you see across those jurisdictions that you mentioned: US, Singapore, MENA, Brazil, Europe.
So there's also a quote where it says, US innovates, Asia duplicates, and Europe regulates, where we've done our job. There's a framework there, It will probably slow down innovation in many things, but it will give the clarity on how to do a token sale, how to operate as a regulated exchange. Ultimately, it will consolidate. So we now see that there probably will be only a handful of exchanges left who will be allowed to operate. We will see the institutionalization of these assets in Europe. And now with the first crypto president in the world, we also are looking to the US, where we see this innovation really coming to life. It always had been like suppressed over the last couple of years. We couldn't really enter the market, but now things change, and we want to take some of these learnings we took from Europe also into these international markets with the US, but also with other markets following.
If you think years ahead, do you think that the concept of regulated exchange will become sort of an atavism because all the exchanges will become regulated? Or it won't be the case?
No, it will. I'm a strong believer in a good balance between regulation and innovation with decentralized networks. And I mean the vision of Bitcoin as a decentralized payment system and like our digital gold, that has tremendous potential. And I think the balance of both worlds will really bring best of both worlds together. And that's where we see a lot of innovation happening. Nevertheless, you want some rules to have large capital inflows. I mean, now the whole crypto industry is still tiny. If you look at the FX market of US dollar to euro only, it's 30 times bigger than the whole trading volume of crypto, only FX. So if we look at any financial services, derivatives, for example, I don't know, any financial assets, tokenized bonds, which we also did in a few pilot projects before. This has really massive potential in the future and will unlock the power of blockchain, ultimately that nobody will talk about blockchain anymore because it's so common, like connecting to Wi-Fi or the internet. It's just embedded in everything.
What do you think are the main factors in order to unlock this potential in a high-speed manner?
So speed matters, but it's also the right moment in time. We did see that from consumer demands, they rather wanted to get 100x maybe into a meme coin than 10% a year. And that also drives a lot of the dynamics in the market. So we're very curious to see how we can take our learnings on a global level. And the LCX tokenization framework is enabling that, basically to go to a new asset class, but also our global outreach where we speak with other policymakers or partners will help us basically grow the industry as a whole.
You want to always have been a networker, and so talking about this also that was last time. I think this is one of the most important things for the industry, right? To create a network around and educate this network. This is, I think, what you've been also telling with the story of LCX. So what are your tips for being a good networker in this industry? And what is the biggest challenge?
What really sets LCX apart is we have a very strong community, also around our utility token, LCX, which always had been supporting us from the beginning. And so if you want to take in any learnings, it's basically that LCX doesn't have any investors. We don't have any VCs in the background we have to report to. We are reporting to our community. It's really turning this entrepreneurial model upside down and saying, we are making our clients happy. And if they're happy coming to us repeatedly over and over and again, then they're also helping us growing. And that's so exciting as an entrepreneur, because I had been on the VC side myself, pushing entrepreneurs on the other side, like, how do you need to grow faster? You need to, I don't know, think about an exit or whatever. And most of the VCs always have a life cycle. They don't think long term. And we now can think on the long term also with our community together. And if there are any problems, they report it to us, we give feedback, we improve. And certainly looking back the last 7 years, there have been like many mistakes we've done, many products which had not been perfect, but we started them. And now we're really at the point where technology-wise we can scale. Now the whole liquidity on the platform increased 10 times, 20 times at least, and there's strong interest. We did see in the last 6 months especially big growth of inflow, and that's why we are also saying we are now one of the fastest growing European regulated exchanges.
You mentioned long-term goals of the community. What are they? And what are the common goals for you and for the community? And what else do you get maybe from the community that you didn't have an idea of before learning this from the community?
At LCX we have 3 company values. We strive for integrity, it's crypto integrity. We strive for excellence, really making products perfect, good user experience, and we have unity. And with the unity is we are family at the company. We are family with our community in a way where we grow with each other, and our community is driving a lot of the growth as well. So now we do have fans, we do have community ambassadors in all different kind of regions, and said you should do more here. Who are your payment partners? I can do introductions to banks, and this had been helping over the years. And now when we look at the global expansion plan, it's again, a big unfair advantage. Correct.
Let me change a bit the subject. A little bit more personal question. So I think for a lot of people, blockchain crypto industry is associated with stress because it's 24/7. It's really exhausting in terms of being always on top of things, and sometimes it's too energetic for normal people. Mm-hmm. That's why the industry also is so young, right? So what is your detox way in terms of getting away and recharge in order to be that charged for so many years with such a global and ambitious project?
So if you talk about stress and crypto never sleeps, stress comes when you lose control over something, and typically you're afraid of it. So this stresses human beings out. But we are not stressed as a company. For us it's usual 24/7 trading. We have one of the best customer support in the market, and they are there all the time, weekends, holidays, during the night. That's common for us. It's stressful for the traditional markets, the traditional players, where it's new to them. Weekends, even normal stock exchanges don't operate there. So this is stressful for them, but this is also, I think, what here, the industry in the Paris Blockchain Week really unites us, that we are ready for this. We are teaching them, and this is where even if institutional players enter the market, we should not be pushed to the side, we should be embraced, and that's why we believe that the future of crypto is very bright.
Love is optimism, and I really wish you prosperous and courageous, because there will be definitely challenges, but as you mentioned, crisis and problems are something that actually give birth to something always bigger. So I wish you as many new challenges that can bring something bright to you, as the crypto industry has shown us, because everything is in cycles. And I congratulate you with this new positive cycle.
Excellent. Thanks, Christina. Onwards and upwards.